Marcus had been planning the proposal for weeks. He wanted it to be unique, unforgettable, something his girlfriend Jenna would talk about for the rest of her life. Dinner at a fancy restaurant? Too ordinary? Sunset at the beach? Too? Skywriting? Way too expensive? Then, while scrolling through his phone one evening, Marcus stumbled across a video of a couple proposing on a roller coaster. The woman had screamed yes while they were upside down, and the whole thing went viral. "That's it," Marcus whispered to himself, fist pumping the air. "That's how I'll do it." Jenna loved roller coasters. She was fearless, the type to throw her hands up and laugh through every drop, while Marcus clutched the safety bar with the look of a man facing his final moments. Seemed perfect. The day arrived. Marcus bought tickets to Thunder Vortex, the biggest and scariest coaster at the park. He wore a jacket even though it was hot, because inside the pocket, wrapped in a little velvet box, was the engagement ring. Every few minutes he checked to make sure it was still there. "Why are you so sweaty?" Jenna asked as they stood in line. Roller coaster nerves," Marcus replied, wiping his forehead. She laughed. "You always get nervous, but that's what makes it fun." As they reached the front, Marcus's heart pounded harder than the ride safety harness clicking into place. He had rehearsed it in his head. He would wait until the big hill, pull out the ring, shout his proposal over the roar of the coaster. And Jenna would cry, scream, and say yes. Perfect. The train climbed the massive first hill, chains clanking, people screaming already in anticipation. Marcus fumbled with his pocket, trying to pull out the box without Jenna noticing. "Marcus, what are you doing?" Jenna shouted over the noise. "Just affixing my jacket," he yelled back, trying to keep his hand steady. The coaster reached the peak. The world below looked tiny. The wind whipped his face. It was now or never. Marcus opened the box, held up the sparkling ring, and shouted, "Jenna, will you mar?" And then the coaster plunged. The box snapped shut. The ring slipped out of his sweaty fingers, and in slow motion, Marcus watched it soar gracefully through the air like a tiny, glittering bird before vanishing behind them. "Nuwu," Marcus screamed, louder than anyone else on the ride. Jenna whipped her head around. What was that? The ring? Marcus wailed, gripping the empty box in his fist. The coaster twisted, flipped, and roared through loops. Marcus clutched the safety bar with one hand and the useless velvet box with the other, shouting incoherent sounds that were swallowed by the wind. Jenna, confused and exhilarated, threw her hands in the air and laughed. "This is amazing," she shouted, completely unaware of the tragedy unfolding next to her. By the time the coaster screeched to a stop, Marcus looked like he had been through battle. His hair was wild, his face pale, and he was gasping for air. Jenna hopped out, grinning ear to ear. "That was awesome. You looked terrified, though. What were you yelling about?" Marcus slowly climbed out, still clutching the box. He opened it with trembling fingers to show her the empty velvet slot. "I was going to propose." Her eyes widened. "You mean, but you lost the ring?" Marcus nodded miserably. It Senna and Francera. Then, instead of crying or yelling, she burst into laughter so loud, the ride operator glanced over. "Only you, Marcus. Only you would lose an engagement ring on a roller coaster." Marcus groaned, sinking onto a bench. "I wanted it to be perfect." Jenna sat beside him, still laughing. "Honestly, it kind of is. I mean, who else can say their proposal literally flew away?" "Not exactly what I had in mind," Marcus muttered. An announcement crackled over the park's loudspeakers. "Attention guests. If anyone happens to find a diamond ring in the Thunder Vortex area, please return it to Lost and Found." The crowd nearby erupted in giggles. Marcus covered his face with his hands. Later at Lost and Found, a teenage employee looked utterly unimpressed as Marcus explained. "So you tried to propose on the ride?" And dropped the ring. Marcus nodded weakly. The employee shrugged. "Yeah, happens more than you think. We'll call you if it turns up." As they walked out of the park, Marcus kept apologizing. "I promise I'll get you another one, a better one, and I'll propose somewhere safe, like at home, on the couch." Jenna grabbed his hand, smiling. "Relax. You already proposed in your own ridiculous Marcus way. And for the record," she leaned in, kissed his cheek, and whispered yes. Marcus blinked. "Wait, really, of course? Who cares about the ring?" "I care about you. Besides," she smirked, "I'll always have the story about the time you launched an engagement ring into orbit." Marcus laughed for the first time all day. "Guess I really did give you a ride you'll never forget." And somewhere in the park, hidden in the grass under Thunder Vortex, the ring sparkled quietly in the sun, waiting to be discovered by a very lucky janitor.